people to begin with. There was only one person who was Jung, who was a sensible man. He talked of sensible things because he got his realization, but nobody has accepted them much. In the whole of England, we have only 12 Jungians. And the other day, I happened to meet about 100 of them in New York. And I was amazed at their quality of mind, the way they understood the whole subject of Kundalini awakening, and that the time has come for this nourishment to work out within us. I was amazed at their brilliance. You have to have basically some intelligence to understand, and not your ego, which just repels you back all the time, takes you away from the truth, but have your intelligence, your pure intelligence to understand that you have not achieved anything so far, so there has been some mistake, let's see what it is. And they did, and they all got realized. You'll be amazed. And the president of the organization, who was 82-year-old and who is a Jew, got up with such humility, he said that, "Mother, you know our language of psychology, which is a child science. Now we have to learn your language, which is the greatest of all." Just imagine, for him to get up and say that. But hardly you find people of that quality. I thank you that he created at least 100 people in this country who could understand what I am talking about. Now, so we have within ourselves this center which is responsible for our innocence, and when we play about with it too much, we fall into traps of diseases. It is very easy to understand for us by our own natural instinct what is wrong and what is right. But even if you avoid all your naturalness with all your artificiality and try all artificial methods, still you will be amazed that those people who lead this kind of life have always suffered. At every port, if you travel, there is a free clinic for people who suffer from these dirty diseases. It has been there since long for all the sailors. But the sailors don't understand that we must be doing something very wrong to get this kind of a disease. Why do we suffer from such a disease? So that we have done something wrong or something we have gone against the nature. When you go against the nature, you get diseases. That's a simple thing. Is to go against the nature is the way you get diseases, and you must understand your own nature and integrate with the nature outside. You will never get a disease. And when you get a disease, understand that nature is punishing you and teaching you. Secondly, this is the biggest achievement in Sahaja Yoga, that people who have suffered on account of their misdeeds, very much in every way, have been cured. Once the Kundalini rises, they get cured completely of all these horrible diseases which are hidden, which are always kept as secrets. They can be easily cured if your Kundalini could be awakened. But those who have problems in the center are the most difficult, because this center is the one which communicates everything that happens within us. The left side line that you see here, the blue line, is the one that collects all the information, called as the Ida Nadi, which manifests outside the left sympathetic nervous system. And it passes all that information to this center, and this center passes all the information to the Kundalini, which is like a tape in a tape recorder, and tapes all that you have done. All the wrong and the good, the imbalances, and all the nonsense you have done is recorded in this Kundalini. Some people think no end of themselves, I have seen them. But when I look at their Kundalini, I feel like crying. The poor Kundalini is like a dead personality. It's like a dead snake trying to rise, trying to raise its head. It's impossible for the poor Kundalini to rise because you have neglected all that is noble, all that is kindness, all that is righteous and auspicious. We have forgotten the word sacred at all, completely. We have forgotten the word sacred. We have forgotten the word that is chastity, as if it was something foolish to talk about these things. Now, when people start suffering, you start reflecting back. Now the new organizations have started, I have seen with the result of that they think now you should lead a very chaste life, one man, one woman and all that. We have in India the same thing, one man, one woman. But have we solved the problem? We have not. That's just a temporary thing by which you cannot solve. At the most you may solve one center. But what about the other 6 centers? What about them? They still exist to be solved. And these 6 centers are very difficult in certain places according to the way and style of life you have. Now the second center that we have actually is the center that comes out of the third center. So you can change it, the number doesn't matter. This center is the center of our creativity by which we go into action. The activity. The color is that of the bile. You see the bile color existing. When you are very active, the bile starts acting and your liver becomes overactive. When the liver is overactive, you start feeling like vomiting and you always feel very bad and you feel there's something wrong here. And all your attention is all the time in a very unhappy state. This is because of your overactivity. That's not the only thing that happens to you with the overactivity of this center, because this subtle center does some more than that. It has to look after other activities also, that is of the spleen and the pancreas and the kidneys and the part of the intestines. Also you can say part of the uterus. Now when you start using this center too much, what happens to you? That you start neglecting these centers. Where do we use this center maximum? When we think too much, the grey cells in the brain have to be replaced. And who replaces them? The centers from your stomach, which is this center which manifests the aortic plexus, converts or transforms the fat cells from the stomach for the use of the grey cells. And when you start thinking too much, when you are futuristic, you are planning too much, then the whole extreme behavior puts you out of gear. And that's how you start developing all these problems. So with the liver, you develop an active liver, you cannot sleep, you feel like vomiting, you can't eat, you grow very thin. You can be very hot-tempered. Such people can be very irritable. At the slightest thing, I see that in the car when they are moving. Slightest thing, they start honking. They are very irritable. They have no patience for anything. They are very angry people, hot-tempered, aggressive. All other these things suffer, so you get diabetes. If you are not very hot-tempered, if you don't know how to give vent to it, then you get diabetes. You develop diabetic temperament with this right-sidedness. Those who are overactive people mostly get diabetes. The reason is they cannot show their temper. If they are in the business, they have to be very sweet with everyone. And there's a temper burning inside. They have to be extremely good and very gentlemanly, otherwise they'll lose the money. So the temper is inside, all boiling up. Here you have to be very nice. At the back you may say all kinds of abuses. But outside you have to be extremely sweet. At that time, what to do? You get this horrible diabetes because you are pancreas gets out of order.